Hey, it's good to hear there are leaders in our community who do not want to become the biggest business on the block. They enjoy helping our community and staying small to better resolve and help our community. Stay tuned, everybody. This is the Your Little Castle Show.
We've done really well.
There we are, everybody. We're back. This is the Your Little Castle Show, talking a little bit between shots there about how important it is to stay in an area, a space where you can best serve your community. And that means not being the biggest company on the block, because so often when the bigger the company gets, the less the quality seems to go down. At least the control or how the access is to get, if there's a problem. You got to talk to the vice president, who talks to the general manager, who talks, and on up the line there. Somebody's got a problem. One of the sales guys got the question, and they're also the production coordinators, right? Production managers. They need to talk to the boss. They reach out to you pretty simple.
That's right.
That's important. All right. With that, what is the biggest mistake that you often see people make when they're getting? This is an expensive task. It's very stressful. This is where people are living and raising the kids. What do you think is the biggest mistake people make when they're getting an upgrade to their house, or they're getting a repair done for a big storm that came through?
You know, I think it's important to not just make your decision on price. We may or may not be the lowest, we may or may not be the highest, but you want to make sure that whoever you're hiring is going to do quality work, and that they are going to have a good quality workmanship from their crews and a quality warranty. You know, if you always are just going with the cheapest bid, some of those things might slip away. You know, like we talked about earlier, I'm a preferred contractor with Owens Corning, which means that Owens Corning is backing us, and they say, yes, Horizon Roofing does know how to install our products, and we are going to back them with a warranty, whereas some other companies don't have that asset.
Yeah, well, if you can save a few bucks and then you don't get a warranty, and then you've got a problem 3 years from now, and they've got to replace the roof, you just paid double in half the time. And what's the average roof last these days now?
I would say in Missouri, with the ups and downs, the heat, the cool, I always tell people probably about 25 years. The manufacturer, they say that they're 30-year architectural shingles, but with our climate here, unique climate obviously in Missouri, they usually last about 20 to 25 years.
Yeah, so if you're going to have something that would, if installed correctly, last 20 to 25 years, why would you want to have somebody who doesn't even know what they're doing install it, and then you don't get that guarantee?
Right.
Not a good way. Those are unwise decisions. When it comes down to it, though, you do a lot of residential, some commercial. What do you like about each? Tell me what you enjoy about residential versus commercial.
The part that I really like about residential, which is the majority of our business, is you get the opportunity to meet a human being.
Right.
In their home. You get to spend an extended period of time with these people. Most of our projects last probably about 2 to 3 months. Mm-hmm. So you really get to know these people.
Right.
Like one of my sales reps, one of his clients came to his wedding.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, these are the kinds of relationships that we build. You get to know these people, you get to know their kids, you get to know their dog, and it's just it's fun. And then whenever something happens down the road, they're going to certainly remember us and call us back. So that's kind of what we pride ourselves in, was getting to know these people that we're working with. So that's what I really like about residential. Commercial, obviously larger projects, so that is of benefit. But like I said, we generally lean toward residential, and we really love that personal aspect.
Well, if you gave a breakdown, how much would you say of each you do?
I would say we're about 85% residential and 15% commercial, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you need a commercial job, you've got the resources, you've got the equipment, obviously, and the expertise. So
absolutely.
Either way. But residential, I enjoy residential. I like working with small businesses, and a lot of times you get to know the owner very well. And if I ever have a question, I usually know somebody in that space. So
yeah.
I appreciate you coming in here and sharing some of your knowledge with us. What do you like about the St. Louis market? There's a unique climate here, but it's also the people and the architecture. You've got homes that are sometimes 200 years old, and then you got new construction popping up all over the place, and homes that need a new roof. And 5 years later, why did that happen? Storm came through, whatever it might be.
Yeah, I like what I like about the St. Louis market is the people. My wife is from California, and she just says that the people here are different. We've all heard it. Everybody says, "Oh, where did you go to high school? You get to know these people.
Right.
You find out who you know in common. I always say that St. Louis is one of the biggest small towns around. So,
Sure.
the people are just good quality people, people that live through their heart.
I like that. Yeah, live through their heart. And so it's interesting to hear somebody who's a transplant from California saying that the people here are really genuine and nice.
Yeah.
That sounds like what she said there. And yeah, California, I had a fiance a long time ago from California, and she was really nice. But yeah, I just felt like I could never leave the Midwest because there's just so much that you get from the people that they're heartfelt and they're sincere. And I just heard it's easier to work with the people in this area because everybody's very kind and very nice.
Yeah, I've got a large family. My grandmother has 29 grandchildren,
Holy cow.
and 2 of them have left St. Louis, and 1 of them came back. So she's still got 28 grandchildren here.
That's great. And you have a new addition to the family, too.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes, I've got an 8-month-old daughter named Riley. We named her after my grandmother.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah.
really cool. Family connections are making a difference in our community. With that, there's obviously many times you're helping people in a very stressful part of their life, and they've got a roof missing or water rushing in the house. But what is? Give me an example of a time where you knew somebody, without naming names, of course, but where you really had somebody who's a tough situation, maybe a contractor that didn't finish the job, or another situation where you just said, all right, we're going to take care of this. We're going to make sure this is right. Money's not really the focus or the object, but you help somebody out.
Sure. Specific situation. I work with a real estate agent, and one of his clients was having a hard time. A roofer came in, installed the roof, and they made promises of doing the siding after the fact. But I guess they really didn't want to do the siding. So
really?
they kind of disappeared on them. And so my real estate agent connection reached out to me, and he said, hey, I've got this guy who is in a situation where, he's got holes in his siding from the hail damage, and this other contractor walked away from the job. And so I came in and I took care of him, and it was a small job, which is why I imagine the other company might not have wanted to do it. But the way we look at it is that's the right thing to do, help people out, right? So.
Yeah. I mean, the word will spread, and they talk about it all the time. Help people with the small stuff, and it leads to the big stuff. But it's interesting because that might have been a stressful situation with the real estate agent involved. You're saying, was there a home sale going on there? And they're like, this thing's got to be fixed before we can sell the house.
That's exactly right. They had a closing date pending in a couple of weeks, and we were able to get the crew in there and get it done and smooth closing.
Wow. Okay, that can be a stressful event as well. What is it you like about working with? You mentioned before where you've got a lot of relationships with insurance agents.
Sure.
And then it sounds like you got relationships with real estate agents too. Are those a good source for you to make good connections with because they obviously connected in your space?
Yeah, the insurance has been a really good piece for us. As I mentioned earlier, I was a claims adjuster for Nationwide, so they know that whenever I'm going out and identifying this hail, they gave me the rights to a checkbook, so I obviously know whether this is damage or not. And that is another one of the potential big mistakes that people can make. Hiring somebody or having somebody come out and identify this damage that doesn't actually know what the damage is. So it's nice for me to be able to go out and work with these insurance agents, and they say, we trust this guy, he knows what he's talking about, and then we can move people through the process.
Yeah, it's an easier process to know that when you've got an insurance agent that you have got a good relationship, they're going to make sure that on your end you're covered too. How often is it the case if you don't want this to happen? But has there been a time where like the insurance guys were, oh, wait a minute, we shouldn't cover that, but because of the relationship you had, you make sure that things do get covered?
Of course, yep.
Yeah. Well, how often is that the case? We don't want to be in a situation where they're going, hey, wait a minute, you got extra damage. How often does it happen where there's things that they just say that's not covered, and why would they not cover a particular? It was from a previous storm and you didn't get the damage fixed the first time, or what are some of the reasons you see things they argue that it shouldn't be covered?
What you said is one of the major reasons, but some companies and insurance carriers are getting away from covering the soft metals on your house. So for example, a hailstorm comes through your area, damages your roof, damages your siding, damages your gutters. Well, a lot of companies are getting away from covering the gutters because they say that it's cosmetic damage, which is valid. That's okay, but that's something you want to look out for and make sure when you're getting your insurance policy that you actually do have coverage for those things, because otherwise you're left with gutters with dings in them. So
yeah, I guess if it's you got a dinged up gutter, it still functions technically,
right,
as to drain the water off, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah,
that's not the way it looked originally, and there are insurance companies now that are not covering that.
That's correct. Yeah.
Wow. And somebody told me this, but I've heard this from talking to somebody who'd been through an issue where they had the original value versus the depreciated value. Is that in the policies?
Yeah, it's called the replacement cost value versus the actual cash value of the home. So the replacement cost value is how much it costs to replace your damage to your home in 2 days' value. The actual cash value is how much it is worth in its current condition. So if you have a 16-year-old roof, then they say, okay, it's worth this much at 16 years. So you're not getting that full replacement coverage. So that's also another thing to really be careful of making sure you have on your insurance policy.
And these are differences in the actual language of your options you have if you figure out you got a much lower insurance cost per month or annual, whatever, that might be because you're getting
lesser coverage.
It's not coverage of the current value versus the actual new replacement value.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, that seems like something that might be important for people to understand, because what do you do with somebody who's you got to come up for the difference and they got to come out of pocket?
That is what they have to do. Yeah, unfortunately, but sometimes we're able to work with them on price a little bit and try to help them out. But okay. But yeah, it's important to make sure you know what you have for your insurance policy.
Some insurance expertise here too to make sure, because a lot of times the insurance person wants to get the sale, so they say, hey, we can cut costs if we just give them this policy. They won't really read the fine print and understand the difference here, and they just sign on the bottom line only to find that out 5 years later when they've got a claim.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Important things to understand, everybody. That's why you want to have experts to make sure, and check that one before you get going there. You might have an insurance agent you would be willing to refer to somebody if they had a question like this.
Absolutely. So State Farm agent Zach Plackmeyer is one of our major referral partners, as well as Dan Freihout with American Family Insurance. These are great local agents. One of them is in St. Charles, one of them is in Baldwin. Great guys, and they're going to take care of you. They're not going to cut any of those corners.
Yeah. Well-known companies that we have all heard before, and we'll do a good job. Been around for a long time. What's a challenge you've been through as a business owner that you would say, oh wow, didn't see that coming, but it made me a lot stronger?
Man, you run into a lot of things whenever you're doing volume of business. One of the challenges was the rapid growth. It was when the company was in infancy stages, all of a sudden it hails, and you go from doing a couple of roofs a week to a lot of roofs a week. Mm-hmm. And being able to manage that growth at a rapid rate was something that it was a major challenge of figuring out how to do that. And there were some sleepless nights and some things that you had to learn and get through. But at the end of the day, it made us stronger.
Yeah, well, they say whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But somebody's been through that. Sounds like that would be. It's a good kind of stress, I guess, because you're growing. But make sure that you're getting the right and high quality response, and boy, you got to make sure you're on. Did some of your baseball training, your background from sports competitiveness, we're going to get through this. Stick with it. We may be down by a couple runs right now, but we're going to come back and win this.
Absolutely, you can always see the end at the light at the end of the tunnel, right? You got to focus on that sometimes. Whenever you realize, wow, we're really inundated with work right now, but you got to look at the positive and recognize that it's going to come to an end. There you go.
There is a path to the victory, everybody, and you will come out on top if you persist. I had a gentleman who I won't mention by name who talked to me. He found out he'd been through a traumatic brain injury, TBI they call it. And he said, Carter, I'm going through this and recovering. Well, what is it that you did to get it through? I said, persist. And you'll get through it because you've already made it through a very tough situation. And so if you persist, then you learn a lot. You get there and we'll conquer. So good stuff we're hearing here from our guest Brian here talking about it to make sure we all persist. With that, a lot of more community involvement. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be back here in just a minute. You're watching the Your Little Castle Show. Here we are, everybody. The Rawling Westport Plaza, the big screen outside. Ozzie Smith was just here sign autographs. Our buddy, Ed Wheatley, who was just on the show. Here we go. There's Ed right there. Hey, Ed. There's Tracy, got his book. We're inside. This is where it all was happening just minutes ago. You can see here it is. There's Ozzy, got his picture right down here, you can see. And this is the Rawlings experience. We just took a bunch of pictures here, put a post up about it, but it's quite the establishment. And all the history of Rawlings sports, Rawlings gloves. They've got a batting cage up here. This is quite the establishment. If you're looking for anything to do with baseball, especially its finest in the field gloves. So check it out. There's your batting cage. And here's the whole layout. So we hope you check out Rawlings here. They have everything you can imagine you would ever need if you're interested in learning about baseball and want to get a baseball glove. Finest in the field, the Cardinal Cowboy. Stay tuned, everybody. It's Cardinal Cowboy. Giddy up.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. By now, we are on ABC 5 times a week. So many businesses are loving what we're doing to help them get their name out there. We'll sit right here in our guest chair, right here, sitting here talking to us. We're going to put on the wall your website and everything about you, and highlight you as a leader. Fill out the form you see here on our website. It's bigleagues.com, and if you go to bigleagues.com, fill out this form. Takes just a couple seconds, and you can even schedule yourself right here. Schedule yourself to be on the show, and there's no charge for us to record you. There's no charge to be in the studio. Check it out if you would like to be on. Fill out the form again, bigleagues.com. This is where we can turn any interview into a series of clips. Professional video on your website closes more sales by instantly building trust, clearly explaining complex products, and keeping visitors engaged longer, reducing bounce rate by 34%. It'll help you to gain that credibility, increase engagement, simplify complex tasks, lower your sales friction, and boost your rankings on the search engine. So this is all kind of a no-brainer. See how we've now had over 500 interviews and now almost 250 different business owners. Go to bigleagues.com. That's bigleagues.com. Go to bigleagues.com and get signed up. You can schedule right from there. So there you have it, everybody. Fun in the community. Hey, pick up this book if you'd like to learn a little bit about how to magnetize your media. My buddy Willie J and Steve Kidd, you've seen Willie on here. I talked to him the other day. But Willie J, magnetize your media. So Carter, you write the introduction, the foreword by the Cardinal Cowboy. So essentially, you wrote the first chapter. This is a #1 seller on Amazon, and they said, Carter, write this. They took my picture and put it in there too. But it really helps us understand media and technology these days. I'll never forget, Dad always had a camera. So does it make sense? And Mom was a drama teacher, taught John Goodman down there at Afton High School. And so does it make sense now why I do all this stuff? I thought I was going to be a baseball player. Nah, we got something more fitting to your personality. So here we are. But how has technology changed the way your business? You knew right away, got to get a great looking website, got to get ask for reviews, get some reviews from people. Got to get a good Facebook page. All of these things are critical these days, and you've done a great job with all of them. And then technology with, like, I've heard this term, Eagle View. Tell me how the technology has impacted your business.
Oh, immensely. My uncle, I mentioned, owns a roofing company as well, and he's had a lot of success without adopting the technology, but he's been in business a very, very long time. So back then it wasn't as important. And now, it's vital, getting the reviews and staying relevant on Google and making sure that you show up there is very important for getting clients. And some other technologies that we use, one of which is called Eagle View, you mentioned. It's pretty amazing. They can get the measurements of your home, every bit of it. It can measure your roof, it can measure all of your siding, it can know the measurements to the inch of how big of a window is on your house. So that technology has helped us immensely in being able to order properly, making sure that we're not ordering too much material for these projects, and it's helped our success quite a bit.
Yeah, I'd say your uncle might have been around long enough to where he can squeak through, but I've talked to my mom, and finally they were like, Judy, Mrs. R, she's known as, you've got to be able to get on a Zoom call. You've got to be able to enter all your grades. And boy, you get forced into it. But a little bit younger than me over here, I'm sure, by about 20 years, I think. But literally, like, the technology kind of came along with it. And you said, got to get in. How long did you wait before you had a website?
Oh, not very long. It was one of the first things that we adopted whenever we first started, because we knew, some of the competitors were doing it, and it was important to show up. That's how most people find these small services anymore, is going on the internet.
Yeah, the interwebs, everybody. I wrote my master's thesis, if anybody's paid attention there, but I have a master's thesis where I wrote the internet and what is to come, how this is going to change the way our world functions. And boy, some people think they don't need a website. You're losing half your business if you don't have a website. I can tell you that, because people, they call me direct. No, the people, they don't tell you that they're not going to call you. They just don't call you. So have a website and stay on top of the game there. What would you say are some of the biggest mistakes you've seen the other competitors make? Is it they get too big? I guess this is something you might talk about. What would you say some of the other guys make, the mistakes they've made that you don't let your customers become victims of?
I would argue that might be one of them, is, getting too big too quickly, not being able to manage your quality, right? It's very important for us to make sure that these roofs are being installed properly, that the siding is being installed properly. And when you have guys, project managers specifically out there, who don't know how to make sure that these things are going on properly, I would say that would be one of the bigger problems that some of these companies run into, is just putting these people out here who don't actually fully know how to do the job.
Write that one down. How often do we run into somebody? They look like they know the part. They've got a great looking truck. They got a new ladder, and now they are experts, and they don't have the years of experience. If you can see, we've got an expert here over a decade. They say once you've done something for 10 years, you've got a lot of expertise, and if you've stuck around and made it that long, and you've got the kind of reviews you see here that people have given Brian, then you know you're dealing with somebody you can count on. It's going to get the job done. Tell me the process, though. Obviously, there's a system to the way you produce what you do, and how does somebody get started with you?
On our website, you can see there is a place for request a free quote. We can come out, we'll show up to the house, take a look at whatever it is that you need us to do, and then we have a CRM software that we can put together quotes on site and give you a quote. And if you choose that we are the right contractor for you, then we put you in the system, move you through, and just everybody stays in the order in which they signed up with us, and we get the job done as quickly as we can.
Yeah, it sounds like, again, you've got a system in place. The guys know how to use this. So the sales guy is also the project manager. Is that what you mentioned?
Correct. Yeah.
So they're going to be involved in making sure that the steps are followed, and this is managed by the software that you use.
That's right.
Very often. And does that include ordering the materials that are necessary, or making sure that the things show up on time and the crews are all aware? That's all coordinated?
It's all coordinated step by step. It's got a board with different stages, and as it moves it along, all of the things kind of gives prompts to the project managers to make sure that right now is the time to order this, right now is the time to schedule the crew, and all of those different things.
Okay, and everybody's alerted with these little things we call smartphones. Is that
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
They look at them. If you get old like me, you got to have the one that you can fold it open and make a bigger screen out of it. But yeah, that's kind of what we have these days. And boy, if we've become addicted to our pockets with our smartphones. Sounds like you guys have it nailed down, though, and literally, like, see what we did there? Roofing nailed down. What's the biggest question people have for you, though, before they get started? Is it always how soon or price, or what do you hear from people?
I would say, yeah, price and what the timeline is to get it done. We pride ourselves in being able to get the job done, as quick, within a reasonable amount of time. Some of these companies are booked out 6 months and all of this. We try to keep it to where we're out 2 weeks to a month on some of these projects. So, you sign up with us, and your roof should be on within 2 to 4 weeks of you signing a contract with us.
There we go. So go through the process, and once somebody's met with you, how quickly do you often get out to meet somebody to take a look at their house? Is that something done within a week or 2 weeks or a couple days?
We try to get out within probably 48 hours. You reach out to us, we're going to call you back immediately within a half an hour to be able to schedule an appointment with you at your convenience. And yeah, we're usually out about 24 to 48 hours on an inspection on the property, so we're not wasting any time here.
Yeah, good to be on the ball. And I guess depending on how severe the latest storm was, if there's a big storm, then obviously there's a big flux in the need for your services. But any other time, you can stick to a pretty strict schedule.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, important. What ultimately, when it boils down to it, we got about a minute and a half here, what gives you the most satisfaction for what you get to do to help our community?
You hit the nail on the head. Helping the community, helping others. That's the mission for the small crew that we have. We know that we have an expertise in something, and we can help people through it, because this is a big purchase for most people, and you want to make sure that they know that they can trust you and that you're going to do the right thing for them. So helping people through the process, that is our mission.
Yeah, and if you've ever been through this, and I've been through it once, with the little tornado back, it was 2013. Oh, that storm in 2000. Somebody else's chimney stack was in my front yard. We were at a Cardinal game. They canceled the Cardinal game. We went into a parking garage because we thought that was safe, unless the parking garage fell. But it was a big, strong structure. And then we got back out to my house, and I'm like, holy cow, lots of damage out here. And then you go through that process and dealing with the insurance guys. But having the expertise you bring to the table, you know how to handle it and make sure that people can go from step 1 through step 5, 7, 10, whatever it takes to get these done. You're going to make sure they get it done right.
That's right.
You're watching the Your Little Castle show. We are highlighting those leaders in our community who are impacting and making a difference. Stay tuned. We got many more to come. This is the Your Little Castle show. Giddy up.